I'm Tommy Godwin. I'm an agroecology and international studies major at NC State, and I'm from Wilmington, North Carolina. My research project this summer was working in alternative crops with David Suchoff on a fiber hemp project in using no-till cover crops to suppress weeds. Some of the things I learned about food and agriculture is a lot of it making that personal connection with farmers and understanding, economic issues they face and understanding like the human side of things, of all the factors that come into their lives, and they have families or they're moving on with their lives. For example, like a farmer at Shanks Farms, how they were renting land not because they couldn't afford to buy land, but because they didn't know what they wanted to do in 20 years, and it's a better economic decision for them if they're renting. So I would say, that would be my answer. I heard about CEFs, and why I decided to be an intern at CEFs is, I go to NC State, so a lot of people I know have worked with CEFs, and Michelle, Dr. Moreno, she is now the NC State director of CEFs, and she was my professor. She recommended me to do this internship, and I know a lot of agroecology students who have also done it. And before I was like, I always knew about it, but I wasn't sure I would do it. And then when I had never done research before, so when I heard about it, or when I decided I wanted to do research, it was like, this is what I need to do, right? I was like, this is such a great opportunity. I can be with with a cohort of other students, and I can do research in a good setting. So I thought, it would be a great opportunity. How this internship helps my career in the future, I would say that it helped me realize things about myself or what I want to do in the future. So I did a lot of field research this summer, and I liked it. I really enjoyed it, even though that was something I wasn't sure I would enjoy, because it's hot, and oh my God, it was some days were really tough and it's really long. But at the end of the day, at the end of the week, I felt good about myself. I felt good about what I did, and I liked it. And I know when I go back to school in the fall that I will miss it. So that really, I knew I wanted to do research, but I never done it, and now I've done it. So I know I like it. So I'm gonna just try to get more experiences in that field and see where it takes me. When it comes to my future in the food system, that's a complicated question. I feel like I'm constantly changing in how I see myself in everything. At first, maybe I was more interested in working with communities and working in outreach and extension, and I didn't know. I just wanted to do something that was good for people, and I wanted to help people, and I wasn't sure what the best way to do it. But then now I've realized that I should do something that lends to my strengths and lends to who I am, and there's no reason why. I mean, in agriculture, there's always the opportunity to work with people and outreach with farmers, outreach with growers, and collaborate across other disciplines. So I think that's where I see myself in the future, is collaboration, working internationally, maybe in agriculture, and doing my part in that way. Yeah, I would say I made some new connections, and there was new opportunities that came to me just by meeting a lot of different people. I think it's really important to talk to people and make relationships, and even among like other researchers, and meeting people who are grad students was really helpful for me to like talk about what goes into that, talk about their experiences with different grad programs and their experiences in the working world and in life. And yeah, I would say those connections will help me future on. I don't know in what capacity, but I would say that I have made some good connections, yeah. Actually, my favorite thing is meeting the people, the cohort. It was a good bunch. I'm going to be sad to see them go. I'm going to be, it's going to be sad seeing them go. We made some good bonds, and It's been such a great experience just meeting everyone and connections with farmers, connections with professionals. I would say that's my favorite part. Prior research experience, no. I never worked in a lab. I worked on a vegetable farm for a year. And when I came to college, I didn't really know what I was going to do. I didn't have a lot of confidence in like searching for things. I just was trying to do as many things as I could that came to me. And research did not come to me as quickly as it might have, it could have, but it came to me still as an undergrad, so I'm thankful for that. And now that I've gotten a chance to do it, I realize, yeah, I have a more like scientifically inclined mind, and this is something that I enjoy doing. So. A background in agriculture, I would say I don't have any background in agriculture. My grandparents grew up on tobacco farms. Okay, maybe that is a background, but I mean, all of my grandparents, my mom is Korean and my dad is from Wilmington. He's from the South. And both of their parents grew up on farms, and as growing up, I had been to some relatives' farms who had like cows and stuff, but I never thought of myself as having an ag background. I came from the suburbs, I came from the city. So when I came to NC State, there was like, when I wanted to do ag, it was a shock to everyone. But I think they've come around to it. They're like, oh, you're kind of getting back to your roots a little. There's that idea. But there's so much I've learned about ag, and yeah, I would say that's my answer. I realized things about how agriculture works, how land works, how farming works, and I would say that I realize now how much of a privilege it is to own land and have access to land. And of course I knew it was hard, and I knew that it would be difficult if I wanted to be work in agriculture or be a farmer or have access to land. And not coming from that background, but having it in my sort of background, if that makes sense, like gives me a perspective of like how my grandparents lived and how that affects me now. Or my grandfather, or his family, they sold their farm, and when maybe financial times were tough, but that helped them in life. That helped them get ahead in life. And it sort of makes me realize that, you know, people not having access to that land is a really big disadvantage. But I would say it helped me seeing a lot of diverse faces and seeing people, like people of color and people of different backgrounds in agriculture, working in agriculture, made me feel like I belonged a little more. I feel like sometimes I felt like I didn't belong in ag. When it comes to the day-to-day of my lab and the people in charge and everything, I realized like how much work goes into it and how confusing and hectic it can all be. You know, sometimes I like wonder if this is how stressful it can be. But at the same time, it's really like I admire these people because of how they can juggle all these things and how they face so many issues. Like working in field research in agriculture, it's like so many things go wrong all the time, and being able to deal with those problems is like, from their perspective, is so much different from mine. Because I work in a field lab and I have to do a lot of manual labor and things, when a plot gets trashed, I'm kind of like, yeah, a little bit. I'm a little guilty about it, but it's like, there's so much work when it goes into these things, and sometimes it can be overwhelming. And then like looking at the research side of things, it's like, oh, I'm trashing all this data. It feels really bad. So it's just like all that goes into it, and the organization of things I really admired. And Suchoff's, especially Dave Suchoff, working with farmers and his ability to communicate research and his ability to talk about things is like something that I was really impressed by. And I see that in a lot of like NC State extension specialist people, that they're really good at connecting with growers, and that's something I think I would like to do one day too. The reason why I was so keen on Aspire and why this one stood out to me, I would say, is the opportunity to work at State. I'd never lived anywhere else but North Carolina, so kind of going out of state to me was like tempting offer, but I was a little, afraid to do something like that. So the opportunity to be here at State and meet people from all over and not have to leave and be closer to my family and things was a big plus. And also opportunity to meet with faculty and make connections at my own university, because I was looking for potentially future opportunities in research here at State. So I would say that those were the big draws for me. If you are considering applying to Aspire, I would apply, and I don't think you'll regret it. That's it. Just like you'll gain a lot of experiences, I would say especially if you're not from an ag background, you should do it, because of Dr. Cruz. Her program, she really wants you to understand how the whole system works in agriculture. And if you want to learn more about agriculture as well as research, this is probably one of the best programs there is, or I know of.